I'd like to give you an introduction to the nation of Sierra Leone, which is a place that most people don't know too much about. We didn't either until about 4 or 5 years ago. This is a presentation that I give fairly often for an introduction to world cultures class at St. Ambrose University. There's a lot of bad news that comes out of Africa that people get used to, but I want to give you mostly good news after reviewing just a little bit of the tragic history that has happened in Sierra Leone. We didn't even know where Sierra Leone was until we became interested in the people there. And it's that little yellow nation there on the west coast of Africa. There are a little over 7 million Sierra Leoneans. When you think of Africa, what do you think of? Most people think of exotic game preserves, or they think about maybe the 15 million or so orphans who are in Africa today, or possibly the brutal conflicts that take place across Africa. And of course right now there's a big famine in East Africa, so we tend to not have an image like this beautiful beach. Sierra Leone, the coastline is a lot of it is beautiful beach like this, which if it could be developed, it could probably be the Riviera of West Africa. But when I think of Africa, I think about this woman, my good friend, Faith Conte. There she is in her kitchen. Her little kitchen with hardly any appliances is very, very different from mine, but I can tell you she's a way better cook than I am with all of my appliances. And Faith has had a terribly, terribly difficult life. She worked essentially as a child laborer until she was almost through her teen years, and very, very difficult story of her life. But look how happy she is today, and that's because, as she puts it, God changes your story. And that's part of her ministry. She's always helping people see that God can change their story. And she's a very happy and productive woman because of the changes that have happened in her life. A few things to know about Sierra Leone. There was a brutal civil war that raged there for 10 years, ending in 2002. There are about 340,000 child orphans, not just as a result of that conflict, but also because of poverty and disease and problems that the people there face. Still, about 26% of all children die before the age of 5, a really tragic statistic. There's a lot of problems with unsafe drinking water, with malnourishment, and on the UN Human Development Index, Sierra Leone ranks near the bottom, although it's actually creeping up just a little bit. We knew almost nothing about what had taken place there till we saw the movie Blood Diamond and read Ishmael Bea's book, A Long Way Gone, which is the story of one of the boy soldiers in the Civil War. So I would recommend both of those resources if you want to understand what's happened in the recent history of Sierra Leone. It's a rich land in terms of natural resources, especially gold and diamonds, but unfortunately most of that natural wealth is exploited. During the war, the diamonds were sold or exchanged for weapons that were used by the armies rampaging through the countryside, destroying the villages, and their kind of signature trademark was chopping off limbs with machetes. Probably the saddest kind of exploitation is the exploitation of children. Boys and even some girls were kidnapped, drugged, indoctrinated, and turned into killers to fight in the army, and not even little babies like this little girl escaped the brutality of the amputations that took place. But the war is over, and things are getting back to normal a little bit. That's kind of a normal street scene in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Freetown's the capital. Seems like everyone's an entrepreneur. And there's a woman who's in the flip-flop business, carrying her tub of flip-flops on her head. And you see that everywhere you go. Here's another glimpse of the busy streets of Freetown. It's actually been cleaned up a lot in the last 3 or 4 years, so that's a good sign. It's always a good sign when the children are in school. Look at these beautiful children in their school uniforms. This is a very poor school. You can see the holes in the roof, and that the children really don't have very much in terms of materials for school. There are a few new buildings in Freetown, and the Sierra Leoneans are very proud of these modern buildings. It's a good sign of the economic prospects that could develop. When there are over 300,000 orphans, it's easy to feel that the problem is so big you can't possibly do anything. We decided to focus on just one group of children in one place, and this is the House of Hope. It's a home for orphan children in Tadi village in Lungi. That's operated by Faith Walk World Outreach Center Sierra Leone by Pastor Abdul Kante and his wife Faith. And there they are with Carolyn and I on our first trip to House of Hope. These children all have a story. Little Samuel on the far right next to the wall was found sitting by the city gate when he was just a little guy. His mother had been abducted and his father was killed in the war. He became a registered orphan at House of Hope and was with us for 2 or 3 years. The happy ending to the story is that Samuel was adopted just a few months ago by a loving Sierra Leonean family. Little Robert right there in the middle was very withdrawn and having a lot of problems in school, but he's gradually coming out of his shell and seems much more happy. He had a large growth on his back that wasn't responding to any of the available treatments. So just recently we were able to help get a special surgery done by a team of Ghanaian surgeons. And Robert has recovered from that surgery and is doing fine now. So we believe that Robert will have a bright future too. Here's the school that our youngest children attend, St. Monica's School. And there's our friend Mary Vandy, the director of the school, who's a great help to the House of Hope. You can see the children have very few educational resources in the classroom. They have their exercise books and they copy things from the blackboard, but hardly any textbooks or other educational materials at all. And that's one of the things we're working on. We work with Books for Africa to try to get textbooks and library books into the school. The need there is great, and Books for Africa is doing a wonderful job trying to end the book famine in Africa. Another partner that we met through a divine connection was Living Water International. Ruth and Robert are their team. They're in Sierra Leone. They're doing wonderful work. In this picture, they're measuring and testing a well in the village very near House of Hope, and they have already rehabilitated that well and some others in the village. We're going to be working with him on more well rehabilitations. You saw St. Monica School. There are 257 or so children there in the school, and until recently there was 0 sanitation facilities, not even a pit latrine. Living Water International built this beautiful latrine that has a sealed septic system and a tank on the roof so that there are flush toilets. So that's a huge health improvement for the children. Another project that we're involved with is a grant to start 2 school community gardens. There's Art looking at some land that is being considered for that school garden. Art met with the town chief, Chief Abdullah A. Kamara, to discuss this project, and there they are, shaking hands, agreeing to work together. Chief Abdullah has agreed to provide some land and to give the help that's needed for the project. So we're grateful for his cooperation. Our hope with those gardens is to be able to introduce some simple technologies like drip irrigation and some new varieties of seeds that will enable the people there to begin to grow and harvest crops year-round, even during the 6-month dry season. Overall, we believe that that will help with malnourishment, as well as being a very powerful education project in the school. So on our next trip to Sierra Leone, which we believe will be in March and April of 2012, we'll be working on some of those projects. If you'd like to know more, there's our contact information. You can give me a call at 309-736-0840. Or there's my email address, especially if you're interested in sponsoring one of our House of Hope children. Thank you so much for listening. God bless.